So this man could have been assassinated 27 years ago. He was targeted and due for assassination in 1997 by Abacha's hitman, but he escaped the plan against him, maybe because he was an Ijebu man, who knows. So this is the story of Pa Adesoya Aderibigbe, the man who could have been murdered by Abacha's hitman, but he literally escaped assassination from Sergent Rogers, who was Abacha's hitman for many years. The craziest part about this story was that Pa Adesoya escaped assassination attempt on his life in 1997 when more than 40 bullet shots were fired at his unarmored car, a Mercedes-Benz car. Secondly, the assassinator was Sergent Rogers. He was Abacha's hitman, and for years of operation, he never missed a single shot. If it targets you, it gets you. But this time, against Adesoya Aderibigbe, he failed. Adesoya Aderibigbe was said to be a son of the famous traditionalist in Ijebu. He was among the activists who made a gigantic contribution to the efforts that won the battle for democracy. He was one of the few political activists that was alive to see the return of democratic rule after a 16 years period of military domination. So his encounter with Abacha started because of his objection to the annulment of his historical June 12, 1993 presidential election. The June 12, 1993 election, which saw MKO Abiola won the presidential election by a large margin, but because the ruling government didn't want him to become the president, the then president Ibrahim Babangida annulled the election. So on August 26, 1993, President Ibrahim Babangida steps down due to the pressure from the Armed Forces Ruling Council, and Eneshonekon assumed the reign of power as the interim head of state, a post that was supposed to be for MKO Abiola. So during this period, Pa Adesoya Aderibigbe became one of the opposition who had objections to the annulment. So he became a markman and a target by Sergent Rogers. Barnabas Jabila, otherwise known as Sergent Rogers, was the notorious hitman of late General Sani Abacha. A hitman is someone who gets paid to kill a specific person. So Sergent Rogers was a professional one in the 1990s. He was the one who organized the same assassin squad that were able to kill other political activists, including Pa Alfred Rewani, a businessman who was murdered in his house in Ikeja in 1995. Suliat Adedeji, an Ibadan-based businesswoman murdered by Rogers' men in her house in 1996, and also Kudirat Abiola, the wife of late MKO Abiola, was also murdered by Sergent Rogers' squad on her way from a trip in Lagos in 1996. So Sergent Rogers was a name to fear in the 1990s. But how did Pa Adesoya Aderibigbe escape assassination in the hand of Rogers? So it was on a fateful day in the year 1997 when the then 74-year-old man was on his way to his office. He was in his Mercedes car with his driver, and when he was being chased down by another car from behind. In no time, the car caught up with them from behind, and while on motion, the deadly squad of Sergent Rogers pulled up and began to shoot at Adesoya's car, in which more than 40 bullet shots were fired at his unarmored car, a Mercedes-Benz. While on motion, Pa Adesoya Aderibigbe told his driver to continue driving, assuring him that no single bullet will hit him or the driver. And to the surprise of Rogers' squad, the Mercedes car escaped the assassination. The news of the escape soon became a front page in the paper in 1997, and even though everyone knew who was behind the assassination plan, no one dares to confront Sergent Rogers and his deadly squad. After all, they were working for the government. This incident gave Pa Adesoya the nickname Apamaku, the last man standing, as he became the only man to have escaped from Sergent Rogers' operation. But as nature would always call, Pa Adesoya Aderibigbe, the pro-democratic activist, died on April 27, 2008 at the age of 85, which was 11 years after he escaped from Rogers' operation. And today, Sergent Rogers is no longer recognized in the government house the way he used to be in the 90s. He was said to have been involved in a car accident in 2014, and ever since then, he has been bedridden and in a wheelchair as he can't go for operations any longer. And according to reports, Sergent Rogers was interviewed few years back, and he stated that he regretted killing people when he was working for the government as a hitman. And today, no one recognizes or pays him a visit since he has been sick. So it is safe to say that the government used him when he was in his prime, and today they recognize him no more.